Hello, and welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I am your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jules and Azergetti Bard.
I'm Joel, I play Dax Koval Rogue.
Batman.
Ryan, and I am down with the sickness. Because my character's down.
Oh, nice.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Is
it my turn now?
Yeah,
Oh, I
sure.
thought you were just so quiet we couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm Taryn. I play Waltz, a human champion. Thank you for having me today. Please don't kill me, Zach.
You're welcome, Taryn. Yeah, not a lot of unity in that one. We had a whisper, a shout, whisper without saying their name or anything, and then just a gracious, just happy to be here.
I definitely think I clipped that time, so
scattered.
sorry.
It's all right. It's your problem to fix, Joel. As Ryan said, he is down again. Jules
With
is
the
down
sickness.
too, actually. Not down with the
was hoping
sickness,
you'd
down
forgotten.
with the getting stabbed, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So the episode started with Tuff, who was face to face with this hooded figure, dark fur, that seemed to be interested in his power core, and it led to a fight. And this person was super acrobatic, a very skilled fighter. Tuff, who was just weak from past fights and then also getting hit by a city a few times, was doing his best to hang on, try to get up in a tree. Just a great cat move, Ryan. Great roleplay there. And then they got up in the tree with him. He yelled out for Jules, who was a ways off with Zoki, and Jules wasn't able to get there in time, and Tuff was knocked unconscious by this fighter. But luckily, Jules was able to show up before they could pull the Flora de Vida out of his power core, so they were clearly after this thing. Jules did his best to talk this person out of doing that, defuse the situation. He and Zoki shared basically that they knew Don Renard, showing the guitar they had, the ring of Don Renard's they had, and this person clearly knew Don Renard, and by this time you can tell they're a female kitsune, but they were in such disbelief that you could have Renard's objects and also the Flora de Vida without killing him. There's no way that he would entrust outsiders with the Flora de Vida and his stuff and to carry on the mission without him being there, which, if you knew Don Renard before the little arc he had, would be a totally reasonable thing to assume. So they thought you were enemies, kept fighting you, and Jules and Zoki did their best, but Jules was also weak. And a bard up against a very
definitely not almost at full
fighter.
health.
Yeah, it's not really the bard's strong suit to do one-on-one with this fighter. But Zoki was landing some arrows, Jules was landing some shots, all that. But she was very formidable and took Jules out as well. And the final thing she said when she stabbed Jules was, "And this is for my husband," or something like that. I don't know. It's not done being edited. I can't remember what I said. Probably something like that. Basically revealing this is Don Renard's wife, and that is where we ended our session. So that is roughly where we'll start our session, with Dax, Waltz, and Smith, who are running in the direction of this fight, because if you remember, Smith picked up on some scent in the air. You guys don't really know what he's smelling, but he did a complete 180 from the direction you guys were heading, which was towards the city in the center of Ciudad de la Nubes, and he looked very determined, so you guys just started following him. Can you each roll me a perception check?
Sure. Yes.
Jules, you can actually roll me a recovery check and just text.
I'll
just
stick with
do
the
it and just text.
perception
Just do
check.
it and text me what it was. Don't say it.
Okay.
Just do it.
I can't wait to find out what happens this episode. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks.
What have you been thinking about it? Yeah.
Mostly whether Zach's going to let me play or not.
Yeah, here we are again.
24.
I got a 21.
All right, so as you guys are following Smith, Cervantes, whatever you want to call him now, you hear gunshots, you hear swords clashing, you hear yells. You can definitely tell there is a fight going on in the distance, and you guys even hear the sound of Jules's ocarina mix in with this commotion at various points.
Dex, that's Jules. That's Jules. We gotta head in that direction. Come on.
Oh yeah, they're already here. Let's go.
Smith starts to run faster, maybe changing direction a little bit as he was relying on an imprecise sense of smell, and then here's this commotion, kind of locks in on what he's after. You see his feet lift off the ground, and he starts to glide through the trees, zigzagging through them, leaving you in the dust just a little bit. but as he does so, you crest over a hill and look down into a little bit of a valley in the trees, and the first thing you see is 2 bodies on the ground, 1 Tough, 1 Jules, and you see Zoki with Dax's short bow over the neck of a kitsune as she's trying to grapple them from behind, yelling, struggling, doing her best to fend off this person as they're
Zoki,
trudging towards
hero.
Tough. And you just hear Zoki, no, come on, we're friends with Don Renard, you don't understand. And this person, as they're just trudging forward, flips Zoki over the front of her. The bow leaves her neck. Zoki smacks on the ground, and this person starts to sprint towards Tough. And just then you see Smith swoop down and grab the shoulders of this figure, lift them off the ground, and then toss them into a tree, and their back smacks against the tree trunk as Smith continues to soar through the trees and starts to gain some altitude so he can turn back around. But this is the scene you've just seen. What do you do, Waltz and Dax?
Smith, wait for us. Oh, Waltz, there they are. We gotta go.
Yeah, I'm on it, buddy, and I'll take out my shield and sword and start sprinting towards my friends.
Yeah, I follow suit for sure.
Can you roll me athletics for initiative to enter the fray?
Yes.
Love that band. I've always wanted to be a part of them, so thanks for this opportunity.
19, Zachernesti.
29, Zachernesti.
Dax, you see this figure with their back up against the tree stump as they shake their head and start to slowly lift up onto their knee and think about getting up, but you are higher in initiative. What do? You're 50 feet from Tough and Jules each.
So, seeing Jules in Tough's body and Zoki just get flipped like that, I mean, Dax is going to assume the worst, that, you know, that they're maybe dead, that whatever this being is just killed him. So immediately, as he's running, he'll ball up his fists at his side and kind of grit his teeth and cast out a ray of frost at this creature.
Get him, Dax.
Not great. That is a 15.
All right, as you're running, ball up your hand, charge out the ray of frost, which you're becoming very skilled with at this point. You've gotten a lot of practice lately. And you hurl out your hand, and this powerful pulse shoots out towards this figure. And just as it's about to hit him, they shake their head and their eyes open wide, and they gain their senses. And they simply roll to the side, and it impacts the tree trunk, and it frosts over. And this person now has one hand in the dirt, one hand at their side, holding out a sword, looking up at you with gritted teeth, kind of showing their kitsune fangs at you as their yellow eyes glisten in the dark. What do you do with your second action?
Since that ray of frost was 2 actions, I'm just going to spend my next action running 25 feet.
Okay, and that takes us to the kitsune. She tilts her head, kind of this cocky, here we go again, and they twirl their sword and start sprinting towards you as well, and slides down on the ground. They're now exactly next to Tough, and they take their offhand and hurl a dagger at you that starts to spin through the air. It has a bit of a glow to it as it knifes through the air. Does a 21 hit you?
No, it does not.
Oh, seriously? Cool. All right, well, this dagger is coming right at you. You duck just in time and feel relieved, but then you hear it coming back at you again from behind and turn around and see that it's retracting to her hand, kind of like how Jules throws his trident, and you dive out of the way and they snatch it in their hand, and then they spin around and are going to try and hurl it a second time at you. And with the multi-attack, does a 22 hit you?
It meets.
And you're very impressed by the fact that she was able to snag it and then quickly whip it out and throw it a second time, and it comes at even higher velocity, almost like she put magical power behind it, as it soars towards you and it strikes you in the shoulder and deals 6 damage, and she closes her fist and it rips out of your shoulder and she catches it again. And that'll take us to Waltz.
How far away from her am I?
since she ran up to Tuff, you are 50 feet from her, Tuff, and Jules.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to use my first 2 actions to move towards her. My movement speed is 30, so I should be able to make it the whole way. And upon sprinting there, since I have my shield out, I just want to like bash her as hard as I can and try and take her off of her feet. So maybe more of a shove.
Okay, like a trip.
Than an actual attack roll.
Yeah, it'd be a trip.
Yeah, do I get any bonus since I'm sprinting at her?
You know what? Just to be nice, I'll give you a circumstance bonus of +2.
Because force equals mass times acceleration.
Yeah, that's
you know what I
exactly
mean?
why. Like, I obviously know physics. Like, I
I
am
came up
doing
with
math
that.
off to the side. So yeah.
I learned that from Ryan.
Yeah, because
Wow, nice work, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He learned it from me.
That,
When I
no, that
learned it
part
from
isn't
him.
true. I came up with that. This is an improv, Adam. I own that.
Oh, sorry. As you were.
Not yes and no.
What am I rolling, Zach or
Roll an
Nesty?
athletics check.
32.
Oh, seriously?
Let's
go.
She has a very high reflex DC, but that's actually a critical success.
Oh
so,
my
Yes.
goodness.
Dude,
Can
I'm
you
telling
roll me
you,
a
force equals
D6?
mass times acceleration never fails.
Dude, I told
go,
you.
Walt.
Can you roll me a
Way to
D6?
use my formula.
A D6? Absolutely, I can. 3.
Sick, dude.
So Waltz, you're sprinting through, maybe as rays of frost fly over your shoulder and daggers fling through the air, and you're just running through it like it's a battlefield, and you raise your shield and lower your head behind it as you just hit this person like a truck. You almost feel like you heard their ribs break or something like that, and they fly back into the same tree that Smith threw them into, and they smash into it and kind of spin to the side and land prone on their chest.
You probably shouldn't try that again. And I'll check on Tough.
All right, that'll take us to Zoki. Zoki slowly stands to her feet, looks at the bow. You see her like rubbing her shoulder, maybe like some blood on her hand, and she starts to trudge forward and says, "I think that's Don Renard's wife. Please don't kill her." And that'll take us back to Dax.
All right, I will spend an action moving the final 25 feet, and I think it's going to take a second to process what Zoki said, so...
Yeah, maybe as it's taking you a moment to process, you're also standing over her prone right now because Waltz just knocked her down. Maybe you even have like a sword, or just you have an advantageous position to probably easily land a blow on her, so you may feel a little bit torn or conflicted, but she is prone right now in front of you.
Dax will take out his short sword, and I'm not going to swing it, I think I'll just put it to her neck and say, "Be still now." And that'll be my turn.
She gets to one knee and then looks up at each of you, seeing that she's now surrounded by Waltz, Dax, and Zoki, and was just attacked by a hippogriff that she can't see as they're circling back around, and maybe cautiously starts to stand to her feet to see if you're going to stop her with your sword drawn, just very slowly raising. Do you do anything about that, Dax?
Can I attempt to, I guess, shove her with my foot? Not exactly kick, but just like put my foot on her chest and just shove her back down to her.
Yeah,
to
you
her
could
back.
roll me an athletics check with a +4 circumstance bonus.
Okay. That is a 26.
That's a regular success, so as she starts to get up, you lift up your pronged dragon-like foot, kind of wrap it around her shoulder and like the other one hooking around her lat, and just push her back into the same tree, and her
I
back
said be still.
hits it again. And you just see a lot of blood coming out of her mouth. Her clothes are very torn. Her sword has blood on it. And she curses in a language you don't understand, looking very frustrated. And just then you see her tail starts to ignite with flame, and she is about to rotate in the ground and throw fire at you. And just then you hear Smith let out his shriek as he swoops down and slides through the dirt and opens his wings wide in front of each of you, shielding you from her, and lifts up his front legs, making himself as big as possible. And you see the kitsune stop dead in their tracks, their eyes open wide, and Smith slams his feet down and snorts and trots anxiously in place. And you hear the kitsune, Cervantes? And Smith lowers his head, acknowledging her. It cannot be. And she drops her sword and drops her dagger and runs up and hugs Cervantes, holding him tightly.
Zoki, what's the deal if that's Don Renard's wife? Why'd she almost kill Jules and Tuff? And I want to check on Tuff if I can, and yeah.
Maybe as your eyes linger onto Tuff, checking on him, you can quickly detect that he appears to be stable, and your eyes maybe wander to Jules as well. And although he is very bloodied, you see his chest rising and falling. He too is stable. And Zoki says,
Phew.
Yeah, she's Don Renard's wife or something, but she doesn't trust us. She thinks we killed Don Renard or evil, and she's trying to get it out of Tuff's core, the Flor de Vida. And as she finishes saying that, the kitsune stops hugging Smith. Wait a moment. No. Cervantes, get behind me. And she's pushing his shoulder, but he's not moving. You fool. They're enemies. And she picks up her sword again, and then Cervantes bucks her chest with his beak, throwing her to the side as she stumbles, and she looks at Cervantes with gritted teeth, almost raising a sword at him for a moment, and then realizing that none of this makes any sense, and then just slowly looks to all of you, kind of calming down as she looks at two bodies on the ground and 3 people standing in front of her.
Everybody take a breath. I'll reach into my bag and grab my healer's tools and toss them to Waltz. Waltz, go tend to the guys.
You got it, buddy. And I'll start running.
Look, we're here because of Don Renard. He's the one who sent us here.
Where is he? Why would he do this? He would be here with Cervantes. Surely he would not entrust you with the Flor de Vida. What did you do to him?
We didn't do anything. He wanted to be here. He And then Dax will look a little sad and say he wanted to be. But you're right. Our whole goal is to get the Flor de Vida here. And then I'll turn and look at Tuff. And if he's dead, then that can't be done.
And you turn back to her, and she's slowly walking up to you, looking very serious, maybe a little intimidating, because the last thing you said is he wanted to be here. And she's looming over you, much taller than you, just covered in blood, and you saw what she did to Tuff and Jules, and she is very serious and says, Is he dead?
God, no. No, he just didn't have the energy to fly up here with us. He said he had to rest.
You see her look down to the ground, and her brow is furrowed. This does not sound like my Don Renard.
No?
No. And then she looks over your shoulder and looks over at Waltz, who is now crouching down. Are you going to Jules or Tuff first?
I'll run up to Tuff first. Tuff, buddy. And I'll start slapping him, snapping in front of his face. Come on, are you with me, buddy? And I'll look to see where the injury is and figure out what to do with the tools that Dax gave me.
Can all of you roll me a perception check, Dax and Waltz?
No. I know what you're trying to do.
Nat 20, so 30.
Nice.
All right, that counteracts whatever enemy's about to fight us, Zach.
I got a nat 1.
You're pretty focused on
perfect.
Tuff.
All right, I stand corrected.
Waltz, as you slide up to Tuff, you're realizing how little you understand about automatons, especially ones powered by like magical artifacts. And you don't really like see blood on him. It's just a very different circumstance. You can still see a faint glow coming from his core, but he is motionless, but you're sort of just overwhelmed by what's in front of you. Dax, as you see Waltz let his guard down, you have a sickening feeling in your stomach as very faintly off in the distance you hear the familiar sound of the Merc vein that Raoul rode in on in Mazivo, a sound you may have heard a time or two in the depths of Dracus, and you're about to call out, maybe alert the others, and instantly you can tell that the Kitsune hears the same thing, and her eyes are growing wide, and she looks to you, and you can instantly each tell that you hear the same thing. And she puts her hand on your shoulder, Dax, and turns you towards her, and she says, "Can I trust you?" And she is like crouched and like holding both of your shoulders and studying your eyes. It's like a very intense experience. Sure. Like she is looking for any reason not to trust you.
Don Renard trusted us with his guitar, and as you can see, Cervantes does too, so I think we need to trust each other right now.
And as you say that, Cervantes steps into her line of sight and looks very calm and just nods his head. And then she says, "Okay." And she releases her grip from your shoulders. "Do you know that sound? That is Raul. He is coming here. I could sense you from miles away. That is why I was here in this forest. If I can sense the Flora de Vida, then so can Raul." And she looks up and she's thinking, "Your friend, and sure he is okay, but do not revive him just yet. We need the Flora de Vida to be as dormant as possible. If we can just get Raul to fly to the center of the city, the power that remains in Ciudad de la Nubes should mask it well enough. Gather your friends, resurrect the fishman if you wish, and follow me." And she just turns like her cape billows and she starts to walk very quickly. She just gestures, "Cervantes." And Cervantes looks back at each of you and nods and then just starts to trot after the Kitsune.
Dax, a little help here, buddy. I don't really understand robots. I'll be nervously scratching my forehead and trying to figure out what's going on with Tough.
I'll walk up and just put my hand on Waltz's shoulder. I think we gotta leave him be for a minute. Let's get Jules up and we can just... Why don't you just carry Tough? And
No, we gotta get him up, Dax. We can't leave him like this.
you hear that, Waltz? It means we gotta go right now.
Means we need our friend. We're not gonna be able to do this with just three of us. We gotta get Tough up, buddy.
We'll get him up, I promise. We gotta go. Just trust me.
Zoki limps up.
Just do it, Waltz. Trust me, that lady really wanted to kill Tough, it seemed like, and the fact that she's not doing it must mean that this is the right thing to do. Just, let's go.
Waltz will reluctantly pick up Tough and throw him over his shoulder, and then toss Dax the healer's tools.
After catching him, Dax will head over to Jules and try to get him up.
All right, you can roll it with a +2 circumstance bonus.
That is a 28, Zach.
That's a critical success if you're going for the 15 one.
13 hit points, Jules.
Okay, you begin to quickly patch up Jules. And Jules, as you're unconscious and maybe tossing and turning, mumbling under your breath, for a moment you maybe think you've died as you feel like you are on the beaches of a quaint island in Aquaria. Maybe the place where you and Tough found the, what was it, fermented bottles of fermented pickles and that tale you guys were talking about.
Totally.
Just a very great time you guys were having. And you feel at peace, maybe like this is somewhere you want to stay. You pull out your ocarina and start to play this tune that's been haunting you your entire life. This one that you feel like you're perfecting over time. And as you're playing it, you're just feeling very satisfied with the tune, just the way it makes you feel. And as you approach the part you have yet to complete or perfect, you get frustrated as you stumble on the notes and don't know what to play. And it's this first crack in this perfect moment. As you get frustrated, you raise your head and see the back of another Azurketi, this one female, and you instantly recognize the hair and just the skin tone and the garments of Sidonia royalty, and you know this to be Kyra. She looks over your shoulder, and it's a very odd sight seeing her on the surface. It feels so real. And then you look over her shoulder and see the Black Dawn off in the distance, and you look to her confused, and she simply nods to your ocarina to try again. And as you pick it up and start to play the note, you feel a jolt of life return to you as you gasp for air and open your eyes and see Dax staring down at you.
Oh, Dax. Oh, what happened? Where is she? Tough.
Whoa. You're all right, man. You're fine.
I got Tough right here, buddy.
We gotta
He's
go,
gonna be
though.
all right.
Is he alive?
He's
I hope
stable.
so.
Is she gone?
Over Dax's shoulder, you see her standing by a tree next to Cervantes.
Let's go. We don't have much time.
I'll just look at them confused. What's going on?
We'll catch up later. You gotta trust me. Let's go.
To be honest, Jules, I don't even know what's going on.
Dax will just
know we're in
grab
trouble.
Jules' clothing or something and just start pulling him.
All right, I'm coming. I'll slowly get up, dust myself off a little bit, kind of check myself.
And you all start running through the forest after this kitsune who was scouting through the trees. You can tell that she doesn't feel like this is necessarily a safe place, and as you all catch up, she signals for you to continue following, and she starts to run through the forest. As you're running, the sounds of this Merkthane are unmistakable. You feel like anyone in this forest could hear it as the heavy wings flap, and its strange, ominous call that it gives out that rings through the forest. And as it soars up ahead and you see its massive wingspan and the silhouette of bat wings looming overhead, and lightning resonates from the tips of its wings and strikes down into the forest and blasts some of the trees. This is off in the distance, almost like whoever is piloting this mount is very, very angry, letting people know that they are here. And it continues to fly deeper into Ciudad de la Nubes, leaving you all behind, fortunately. And as this happens, you all were maybe hiding up against some trees, and once it seems like they have passed, the kitsune looks to you all and maybe holds their side and looks at their palm, and there's blood on their hand, and looks you all up and down, and then looks to Tough.
I think we all need a moment. This way.
And she starts to descend a hill down some rocky ledges, gesturing you all to follow her.
Jules, what's up with all these creatures shooting lightning lately?
I don't know, but I'm getting sick of it.
Oh, it's good to see you, though, buddy. And I'll continue kind of walking, following the kitsune, walking beside Jules with Tough on my shoulder.
I feel like Dax is maybe cowering a little bit more. He's taking this maybe more seriously than it seems like Jules and Waltz are. I mean, just because he's experienced this Merkfang before. So yeah, he's just going to look back to Jules and Waltz, maybe put a finger up to his mouth, like shh, without saying anything, and just kind of slink off behind Don Renard's wife, whatever her name is going to end up being.
After you follow her for a while, you start to hear the sound of running water, and then eventually roaring water, like a waterfall, and she leads you down to a lake and stops on the edge of it, and then looks up, and you see this beautiful waterfall, this very lush, quaint, rocky area in the heart of this forest. And as you look up at the water, even though it's nighttime, you almost feel like light is emanating from the water as it splashes down into the lake. Almost looks like fireflies or lightning bugs, and just little flakes of light dancing above the water, maybe just a little bit of mist as well. And the water itself seems to be resonating with a blue light of its own, just the purest, bluest water you've ever seen, with just a subtle glow to it. And she looks back and says,
This is Lago de Paz, the Lake of Peace. The Flora de Vita has been gone a long time, but magic still remains here in Ciudad de la Nubes. Your friend, all of you, enter this water and your constitution will be restored.
and she turns and starts to wade into the water herself, and you just see this light working its way up her body and restoring the cuts, and you can just see that she is rejuvenated as she wades into the water.
Waltz will take a sec just to take all of this in and appreciate the beauty. He'll say, Jules, Don Renard said this was the most beautiful place, but I gotta be honest, I never could have imagined this.
I'll pat him on the shoulder as I walk by him. Yes, truly a sight to behold. And if you'll excuse me, and I'll limp past him and start going into the water.
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna
but
go
it'll be
a little ways away from from the kitsune.
You're still not ready to.
Because I'm still very confused on what's happening right now. Maybe as Jules wades into the water, letting it rejuvenate him, he'll find it hard to not just stare at this kitsune, all the questions running through his mind, and just kind of involuntarily say, "Who are you?"
She maybe has her head tilted back, just taking a big breath in as she is letting the healing waters just restore her. And then she looks down, looking the least agitated you've seen her so far. And she says,
I am Don Aliara, Don Renard's wife.
I'll maybe start to put the pieces of the puzzle together, maybe start to understand why she was so defensive, maybe even think of Kyra a little bit, understand how far one would go for the person that they love. But I don't know if Jules would say anything. I think he'd just nod. At the moment, he'd just nod and just continue letting the water heal him.
and Jules, you've been in, your fair share of waters and lakes and ponds and just many beautiful places and aquaria, but this is the most refreshing pool you've ever been in. As you look up at this
that's a good
mighty waterfall. And yeah, you've been out of water for some time.
Point. I've been out of water.
Yeah. And Jules, maybe as you first enter, you're stepping a little gingerly as your side still hurts from where you were stabbed, but as you wade deeper into the water and feel at your waist, you can tell the cut is completely gone, and you just feel great. Like, you feel powerful. You feel as if the weight of all the adventures you've been on in the past month or two just never happened physically. Like, your body feels outstanding.
I think I'd go deep enough where I could almost stand straight up and just float underwater, arms out, eyes closed, just taking it all in.
And as you're underwater, you're seeing aquatic life like you've never seen before, just very magical looking fish that glow and have amazing colors on them and just come in all sorts of odd shapes and things you've never seen before. And it's just the clearest water you've ever seen, and it just feels like truly illuminated underwater. Like, even though it's night above, you can just see so clearly beneath the water.
Jules will feel just elated, so much joy. This is the whole reason he wanted to leave Sidonia in the first place, was to experience these things that he wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then about as soon as he feels that, he maybe feels some sadness, and that sends him back towards the rest of the group.
Waltz will walk down to the water with Tuff on his shoulder and start wading around. Maybe just kind of hold Tuff in the water and see what happens.
Yeah, you just see Waltz with a furrowed brow, looking kind of confused, and Waltz just being the selfless person as he is, even as he's being healed, he's not even noticing, as he's just staring at Tuff and kind of maybe lets him dead man's float a little bit.
Yeah. All right, Tuff buddy, any day now. Come on.
You see his core start to churn and the Florida Vita glow a bit brighter, and his eyes open, revealing the familiar red and blue eyes that he has. And Tuff, you are awake.
Oh, thank goodness. Tuff buddy, how are ya?
Tuff will do that cat and water thing where he shoots up and he'll do that big cat back arch thing, and he'll just scream out, ah! And then I'll hop on top of Waltz and dig my claws into him like cats do.
Watch the claws there, buddy. Jeez.
Where am I?
That's water. It's really good water, Tuff.
Instantly, the marks that Tuff left when he gripped your shoulder with his claws heal as the water is running over you.
Oh.
Why the heck are we in water?
Tuff, you're back.
Jules, what's going on?
I wish I knew.
I'll look around some more
told me anything.
and see that kitsune woman. Guys, look out! Quick, fight! Shoot!
Tuff, it's okay. It's Don Renard's wife.
No, you... What? She tried to kill me.
It was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, killing me is a big misunderstanding, I'll say.
Hey, she almost killed me too, okay?
I hit her pretty hard with my shield.
How is that making you trust her more?
She just has her head tilted as her eyes are going back and forth as each of you are just speaking. Like when you say like, she almost killed me, she nods like, yeah, I did. And then Walt's like, I hit her with my shield. She nods again like, yeah, I did. Like, she's just kind of like, yep, all this happened.
It's a good point, Tough. I'm still working through everything. There's still some pieces missing, but...
Hey, lady! And I'll like try to keep my balance on top of Walt so I don't touch the water as I'm like waving my arm, calling out to her.
You're good. You're good. Hop on this, and I'll put my shield above. Like I don't know, just you want to just float on this. This probably floats.
No, I need something to grab onto, and I dig my claws into him some more.
If you were to look around, you'd see Dax sort of mesmerized by what he's seeing in this area. I mean, it's more beautiful than anything on Dracus, that's for sure, and more tranquil. It's like a kind of peace that Dax has never really experienced before. It brings him back to when he first arrived, when he met Digsby. The forest was just at peace. There was nothing going on, and it's sort of been chaos ever since. So he maybe even gets a little misty-eyed at the tranquility in this place, and he'll slowly walk over to the edge of this pool and just kneel down and put a hand in the water and start like bringing it up to himself and covering himself that way. He's never really experienced swimming before. Dracus doesn't have water. He doesn't go swimming. I'm sure he doesn't know how to swim, so he's sort of just cupping the water and pouring it over himself, and he'll have his head down. He'll, hear you kind of pressuring Dono Yara, and he'll say, "She thought we killed him. Dono Yara, you said that didn't sound like Don Renarda. What did you mean by that? The short time I've known him, he's been nothing but honorable, so it sounds exactly like what he'd do. He gave us the means to return the Florida Vita to its home. So why does that not sound like him?"
She looks down and kind of sighs, like you can tell she misses him, especially with all she's been through in the past couple days. And then she's probably been very worried about him, didn't know what he was up to. And then looks up.
It sounds like my Renard to ensure the Florida Vita is returned, yes. Trusting outsiders, such as yourselves, this is not my Don Renard. You must have been on quite a journey together for him to do such a thing.
A smirk will fall over Dax's face. Yeah, we sure were, weren't we, guys?
Tuff will start clawing around on Waltz again and start trying to stand up on 2 feet as I use his head to push myself up. And I'll call out, "Yeah, lady, I was tasked with something and you tried to interfere."
I am sorry, Roboto Gato. You must understand my perspective. The Florida Vita was taken by a tiny little lizard person. This person here, gestures to Dax, is a tiny lizard person. You, Roboto Gato, I am not sure what you are, but humans...
I'm tough, and there's only one of me.
Right, yes. Well, it certainly seemed to me that you had killed my husband, and that you are working with those who have invaded our home. And the Florida Vita being here on Ciudad de la Nubes is an opportunity I simply could not ignore. I did not have time to get all of the details. If I delayed too long, if I made myself appear weak to you, if I trusted you in vain, that could have cost not only the life of our city, but the entire planet of Lorthal. Surely you can understand
well, to
why
me
I did
that
what
sounds... I guess that sounds kind of fair, actually. But still, I just want you to know, if all my tools hadn't malfunctioned, I would have had you.
Sure. Is that why you hid in a tree? Your tools malfunctioned after you were in the tree, yes, Roboto Gato?
Alright, well, maybe you got me there, but, and I'll, scratch my head a little bit. Well, how about you throwing that dagger thing? A real female dog move, if you catch my drift.
What is this, dog? What is dog?
Oh my gosh. And I look down at Waltz. She doesn't even know what she is.
Well, it seems like she's at least a friend. But hey, Don Iliara, well, first of all, you guys are very stubborn creatures up here. But I've only met ones that don't like us very much, so you're one ally we have. Do you have any other friends up here to help us out in this whole venture, or is this all we got?
I sure hope there are friends left that can help us. I have not seen them in quite some time.
And she looks, you can tell she's very sad. Like, you have no idea how many friends she may have lost in the past couple days. And she's taking a moment to just collect herself.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up, bad memories. I just wanted to get an idea of what we have here.
No, it is okay. There is no way to discuss the matter at hand without bringing up bad memories.
And she looks off towards the massive moon looming overhead.
But, we get a lot of bad memories. Sometimes it's easier to think of the good ones when you can. And I'll maybe put like a hand on her shoulder, pat her on the shoulder.
Yes, well, I am hoping we will create some new good memories if we are successful. You see, having the Florida Vita changes my plan entirely.
And she just is thinking and looks back to you.
You see, when Raul and his followers captured the city, they were wise and ensured they also captured all of our hippogriffs in the aviary, which of course traps us here, so there is no means of escape. They also brought with them something I have never seen, abominations that cannot die, it would seem, as if they are dead already. Some look like you, and you, and you, and
She gestures to Dax and Waltz and maybe even Zoki. Not so much Jules or Tough.
which is another reason I was suspicious of you all. They do not seem to have reason, they do not seem to have fear. In fact, some of them even, if you can manage to kill them, explode. We were not prepared for such a thing, especially without our hippogriffs.
And you kind of see her do like a 1,000-yard stare as she's like maybe reliving some of the battles she's been in the past couple days.
It was my hope to free some of the hippogriffs, perhaps. Hopefully find some more allies of mine in the heart of the city and evacuate as many as we can. My children are hopefully safe in the basement of my villa. We have a room in which they can go. I was hoping to go back there and get them. I do not know. Make our way to a node. Hopefully, I do not even know when they align.
You can see that she's feeling a little desperate right now as she's like saying her plan out loud, just how truly desperate it was. When she looks down and looks back up.
But the Florida Vita changes everything. We do not need to evacuate. We need to get it to its home beneath the city. If we stop the city from falling, then we can try and retake it. But we should save everyone we can in this way. The planet itself as well.
Where is its home? I mean, he said to bring it to Ciudad de los Nubes, but didn't specify really where it was, just the soils.
Its home is in Caverna de Luz, beneath the city. There are a couple ways to get there, but surely Raul knows we are coming now. At least it would seem so, and he will stop at nothing to ensure that we do not return it here. He himself may be in Caverna de Luz.
And she's thinking,
But Ciudad de las Nubes, she is strong. She has been holding on for a long time. Days now. Sure, there are moments where we start to plummet, but she hangs on. She is eager to give us a chance to win. Perhaps if she can do this one more time, we will descend to cloud level, and it will provide us cover throughout the city. That would be helpful. Maybe during this time we could get to Caverna de Luz, or perhaps free some hippogriffs, liberate those who are trapped, gain more for our cause. We will need a distraction, something to at least lure Raul's beast away. I have never seen such a creature, but do not think we will fare well against it.
Yeah, I wouldn't like our odds.
Ciudad has great fighters, masters of the air. I know some of them must still be alive. If somehow we could free the hippogriffs, I'm sure they will rally to help us. We do not need to fight this creature ourselves, unless you all are experienced in aerial combat. Surely not more than us.
and she looks very confident when she says that.
Waltz will look to Dax and just kind of shrug.
Certainly not.
Then we will need some help in this regard.
Okay, so say this all works out somehow and we do return the Florida Vita. What happens to our buddy Tough here?
Tough will have been kind of not paying attention too much, more concerned with the water below him while he's atop Waltz's shoulders. But once Waltz says that, my ears will kind of perk up. I'll pay a little more attention, and I'll say, yeah, what does happen to Tough?
She looks at you and then instantly looks down and shrugs and tilts her head and then looks back at you.
I do not know, Robato Gato, but you flew here, yes?
In a manner of speaking.
It's almost like you are a mini Ciudad de la Nubes. If she could endure for a time without the Florida Vita, perhaps you can as well. Some power will remain within you. Beyond that, I do not know.
Well, I can't really say I've lived too much of my life without a core keeping me alive. So I guess I don't really know either, but I feel like I could make a pretty good hypothesis.
She looks like she's going to say something, maybe like trying to make you feel better or give you good news, and then she simply says, "The dire circumstances has required sacrifice from many." And she looks away.
Hey, Tough, we can find another way. If this ends up killing you, then it's not worth doing.
Oh, shut your dumb mouth, Waltz. Look, I can honestly say most of my life has been lived, well, dishonestly. Doing whatever I needed to do to look out for number one. There's only been a few people I've tolerated, much less liked. And then I'll look off into the lake where Jules is swimming underwater. And knowing he can't hear any of this, I'll say, if I do one selfless act that results in keeping a friend alive and protecting Dunedast's final resting place, oh yeah, and saving an entire planet from destruction, well, maybe that's enough to make up for a lifetime of selfishness.
Then it sounds like my Renard entrusted the Florida Vita to a hero.
And she wades away just a little bit, maybe giving you some space. Like, you can tell, even though she's a little blunt about this, she does understand what you're doing is noble and just kind of wanted to encourage you in that way.
Tough will have been looking at Iliara, but then will kind of look down, contemplating, and then kind of laugh to himself. Female dog. And then I'll shake my head a bit and say, well, contemplating the morbid reality of my own self-sacrifice is great and all, but Waltz, maybe we could all continue this conversation outside of this giant body of water.
Oh yeah, sorry buddy, I forgot cats don't like water, but you're a robot, so I just, I guess neither of those things.
Any day now, Waltz.
Okay, and I'll just take him out.
Do you all wade onto the shore then?
Yeah, I'll take him out and plop him on the ground, maybe help dry him off a little bit, and look to Jules and Dax to see if they're coming.
Waltz, maybe you can help me pull out some of these splinters?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll start pulling those out.
Ow! Yeah, I hit a few trees on re-entry.
Oh yeah, that happens around here. I'll pull a couple more out and kind of check on my shoulder from when that guy yanked me as
Feels
I was
great,
hanging
man.
onto a tree myself.
It's perfect. You feel like 5 years younger, honestly. Like, you just feel great.
Jules will wade out towards the shore, and once he kind of catches up to the group, what did I miss?
As he says that, El Yara is sitting on a rock on the shore and dipping some vials into the water. And when Jules says, "What do I miss?" she lifts an eyebrow and kind of side-eyes the group to see if they will share with him what Tuff said as she's putting corks in these vials.
Tuff will kind of side-eye the rest of the group, trying to imply that they shouldn't mention to Jules what I had said earlier.
Well, Jules, sounds like we've got a plan.
Oh yeah? What is it?
Yes, what is it?
Well, same as it's always been. Get the Florida Vita into the city and don't die.
Well, I figured there'd be more specifics, but...
Yes, there really should be more specifics, actually.
And Eliara walks over and tosses a vial to each of you.
Tuff will use his extendable tail to grab a vial.
Waltz will catch the vial. Yeah, the only thing is, Jules, if we complete this thing, and Tuff here...
is gonna have to figure out what he's gonna do with the giant bag of money Iliara is gonna have to pay for us after we save her city. And then I'll side-eye Waltz, glare at him.
Tough. Is that all you think about is money?
Oh, well, you know me, Jules. Hey, Maybe we'll even be able to afford a razor so we can get rid of that thing you call a beard from your face.
Very funny.
Yeah, good one, Tough.
Well,
Then Jules will turn to Don Eliara and just kind of lift up the vial and give her a nod to say thank you.
So first of all, you all are like full health, full abilities, and are level 6 now. You guys are with that?
Ow, ow, ow.
Nice. I
Yes.
spam lay on my hands.
So we
Yeah,
finally
right.
said it in the middle of a.
Yeah,
of
we
a-
actually said it when it actually happened.
That
Right,
makes
that's
me want to
wild.
pee my pants.
Yeah, a little cheat long rest situation in there.
Yeah, I like it.
You got to cheese it sometimes.
So Eliara sits on a rock and maybe takes a stick and starts to trace in the dirt a circle.
well, we do need more of a plan than just return the Florida Vita to Caverna de Luz.
And she draws a smaller circle in the heart of the bigger circle.
This is Ciudad de las Nubes. This is the castle of Star Sea. Beneath it, deep within the city, is Caverna de Luz. The castle of Star Sea is on an island in the middle of a lake. Crossing it will be vulnerable, except maybe for this one here.
And gestures to Jules. And then maybe southwest of the lake that she drew, she draws another building.
Here is the aviary, where all of the hippogriffs are held. As I said, if we want to distract Raul's beast, we will need some riders of Ciudad on our side. If you want to enter Caverna de Luz, you can go into the Castle of Starsea and descend into the depths. Of course, I imagine this will be well protected, heavily fortified. That it is the most direct route. As I said, there are abominations lurking about, as well as other kitsune, betrayers. But this is a sure way to reach Caverna de Luz. But you can also, in this lake, find another entrance. Not many kitsune are fair at swimming. Few can hold their breath so long, but if you can, you may be able to slip in undetected.
I'm listening.
And she looks at Tough after Jules says I'm listening, and kind of like she knows that Tough can't carry the Florida Vita unless you give it to him, and thus starting your countdown. So she knows that you haven't shared with Jules kind of your situation, so she doesn't say anything and is just going to let you guys talk about it later. And she says,
Similarly, here on this edge of the island resides the Alado del Eco cliffs. You can climb these cliffs, perhaps fly alongside them, and make your way through some caverns of sorts and hopefully reach Caverna de Luz as well. Of course, without the hippogriffs to distract Raul's beast, flying would perhaps be a death sentence, and climbing would be dangerous. Essentially, all of our options are dangerous. It is simply a matter of which one do you feel gives us the greatest odds.
and she stops drawing and leans back against the rock and looks to all of you.
Again, hopefully this is after the city descends one more time, and we truly reside amidst the clouds. Should give us some extra cover.
I'll look at the group and I'll say, well, I'm a pretty good climber, but, and I'll look to Dex. I'm not very stealthy.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you guys know I grew up climbing. I'm comfortable on the rocks, but I mean we've definitely got some options here. Jules, you're obviously the perfect choice for the underwater option. I mean,
If only the rest of us could breathe underwater.
I can't say I'd be very comfortable in there.
Perhaps if you fought your way into the city or snuck around, there may be a potion or two, but I cannot guarantee that. That would help you breathe underwater.
I think regardless of which path we take, I think we need to try to free those hippogriffs if we stand any chance. I mean, I know you guys haven't dealt with one before, but that Merkving Raoul's got is something we don't want to be messing with if we don't have to.
Tough will rub his chin with his extendable tail. Yeah, good distraction's definitely going to be necessary. Iliara, is that underwater cavern likely the quickest and most inconspicuous way into the city?
Perhaps the fastest, yes, could be. I mean, on a appropriate day, simply walking through the castle would be your best bet, but I have never gone beneath the water myself. I have only heard of it.
Perhaps I have a suggestion. What if I were to go ahead, find the underwater cavern, infiltrate the castle, and cause a distraction that would give you all enough time to come in the front door? And then I look over to Tough, and I smirk and I say, a classic boom and zoom.
Yeah, well, I was about to commend you on your own plan, Jules, but I guess you're right. It is just the classic boom and zoom.
Do you think you can get out?
And do you think you can get us in?
Well, I can't assure that I'll get you in, but I'll certainly do my best to cause as big a distraction as I can. As for sneaking around, and then Jules would take his ocarina out and play a soft little tune, and as he plays it, mist kind of comes out of the ocarina and swirls around him, and as it swirls around him, he starts to disappear.
What the heck? How long have you known how to do that?
That's a neat trick.
And then Jules will come out of it. Yes, indeed. I guess I've just never found a good use for it yet.
Are you kidding me? No good use for turning invisible?
Yeah, Waltz, I wish we had that. You kidding me?
Tuff's like, we could have stole so many things.
Yeah. How many times have I put my life on the line, pickpocketing bloodthirsty pirates while you twiddled around on your little flute thing, when you could have just gone invisible and done it all yourself?
Well, I couldn't do it then. I've grown. I've gotten stronger.
Well, clearly none of that strength made its way to your brain.
Guess not. Nice tail, by the way. Could have used that in some situations as well, I believe.
How dare you? The story of me losing my tail is both tragic and deeply personal.
You just see Eliara shaking her head, like
arguing
kind of
that.
wondering
What are you
again, like
arguing?
if these heroes are as
I
great as she
digress.
does.
Well, stop digressing then.
So, what do we think of this plan?
Well, to me, makes the most sense for you, Jules, to run covert ops in that underwater cavern underneath the city. Create some sort of distraction. I think I got just the tool to help you out with that, too.
Oh?
And then the rest of us can use the cover of the clouds once the city drops low enough, as well as your distraction, to get to where we need to drop off the Florida Vita. What we do still have to figure out is how we're going to free the rest of those hippogriffs to help us with the fight.
Eliara slaps her knees as she stands up, and she says,
Cervantes and I will take care of that.
and she looks and nods at him, and he snorts, and then she says,
And you, little rat person. My name is Zoki. Right. You are pretty good with that bow, as you shot me a few times. And she goes, yeah, sorry about that. No, it's okay, I was going to kill you.
and then Zogi just kind of squirms like a little uncomfortable, and she says,
You will come with me, yes?
and Zoki looks like, what the heck, and like side eyes like all of you, like, can you believe that she just asked me this? And then maybe for a moment like fidgets, and then when she grabs her shirt, feels the strap of Don Renard's guitar and furrows her brow, and she says,
Yeah, I'll come with you.
Tough will also look confused by this and kind of do a double take, him not being aware what Zoki did, trying to protect himself and Jules when Iliar was attacking them. And I'll say, What? The rat kid? You're taking her with you?
Yes, she is brave. And if it were not for her, I would have ripped that flower out of your chest. And I would be on my way to Caverna de Luz.
Zoki starts to walk past you, Tough, as she's walking towards Eliara, and pats you on the shoulder and says,
You're welcome.
Really is all paws on deck, I guess.
Remember, we gotta save Don Renard.
and she looks over to Eliara and starts walking towards her. And Eliara says,
Yes, and we are not going to do that, standing around here. We are going to leave. You start making your way to the city. Wait for us to drop below cloud level, and make your move.
and she walks up to Cervantes and says,
Are you ready for one more mission, my friend?
and she pats him on the chest, and he affectionately rubs his beak on the side of her head, and she chuckles. And can you roll me a perception check with a +4 circumstance bonus, Jules?
It's a non-net 20.
And Jules, you notice as she is preparing Cervantes and getting ready to hop up on the saddle, you see his wing move a little bit as she's petting him, and underneath his wing you see the necklace you gave Don Renard and told him to hold on to it until you get back. And Smith sees you looking at it, and fidgets his wing to cover it again and looks back to Elyara. And that is where we'll end
What's it
our
gonna do?
Dang it.
session.
Man.
Haha,
Dude,
yeah, just
Elyara's
had to
gonna
remind
think
you.
Smith killed Don Renard.
No, that's Jules' necklace. She doesn't know anything about it, but now you
yeah.
guys,
He's a
now
yeah,
Jules
cool.
might
Dumb,
know,
dumb.
and he has to decide what to do with that information.
She's gonna see this
Whoa,
and think
hold on,
Don
hold on.
Renard
Whoa.
gave me a
Okay,
gift.
Adam, shut up. Adam, shut up. Adam,
What if
shut
I
up.
want to say?
Ryan,
Okay.
Ryan, look at me.
What if I
Shut up.
Okay.
Ryan, Joel, I know you have a mustache, but you still have to shut up. And Taryn, I don't know what you're eating. Are those Oreos, bro? What is that?
Nah, dude, banana bread.
Oh, you can keep talking then.
up. You don't have
No,
to
you can
shut
keep
up.
talking.
Shut
He's
up.
got banana bread. He can
Ooh,
keep
Zach,
talking.
I have banana
I like
bread
that
too.
stuff.
Okay, let's do
Yeah,
it.
I have banana bread too.
Hey, shut up.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the downtime, which is for patrons, where we react to the most recent episode. I realized like lately my shut ups haven't been very intense, and I just want to get back
That's
to like the
true.
really
There
sharp,
we go.
angry shut
Yeah, I'm
ups.
not really
It's
scared.
comfortable.
Yeah, I
miss
know. It's
those
just like
ones.
I just want to get back to that. So,
It's almost like you're saying I love you, you know?
anyways, I just want to react to some things we've seen online. I want to give a
Wait.
What's up?
What things?
What kind of things?
Yeah, what are we looking at online, Zach?
We've seen a lot of things online.
just some nice comments
Especially
about
today.
the show.
Oh.
Okay? Yeah,
Oh, okay, great. Yeah,
don't worry.
Okay, go ahead.
Do those. Do
Don't worry
those.
about that. All right. Well, first I want to give a shout out to Black Fenrir on Reddit, dude, because he's a patron of ours. This is Tim. Tim's the man. If you want to meet Tim,
Oh yeah.
come check out the
Tim.
Discord. Okay.
Wait, are we still using real
he's
fake
great.
names? I mean,
Yeah, I'll give him his real name. I don't think he cares. Yeah. But yeah, he has just been awesome. Like I said, I do term searches on Reddit every now and then just to see people are talking about the show. Usually it's like, man, they suck at the rules. Like, this is the worst show ever, and I just ignore those. And then when I see the ones where they're like, I really like them, I go read those and I share them with the guys. And he's just been awesome. And someone put a post today that says, "Greetings from a D&D player. Help me cross over." And he swooped in and he said, "Mortals and Portals is a podcast made by people just crossing over from 5e. So while they make a bunch," I like how I used a bunch, "of mistakes along the way, they really
Wow.
take you on the journey of learning the game. They also just really good storytellers and have fostered my personal favorite online community." And I would love to emphasize that. Our Discord is awesome. There's really cool people in
best.
there. If you've been listening and you haven't joined the Discord, I'd encourage you to do so. We talk about the show a lot. We also just talk about tabletop RPG stuff. We also just talk about like complete nonsense. It's a great time. So yeah, please check that out. We'd love to have you. So yeah, thank you guys for comments like that. There's a lot. Maybe I'll read some on the next episode. But every time you guys advocate for the show, it makes a huge difference. We usually see like a little bump in episode downloads that day. Like I said, if we go on all these posts and say, "Hey, check out our show," people are like, "Yeah, right." But if someone else is like,
Truth.
"I'm a non-biased person and I like it," check it out. That goes a long way for us. So thank you guys for helping the show grow. Really appreciate it. And we will see you next time, mortals.
Waltz will how do I say that word?
You
I thought
said it
you
right.
You keep saying it right.
yeah,
both
you
of those
just keep
are right.
saying it worse now.
You were reluctant to accept the pronunciation.
right.
Waltz will reluctantly grab Tuff and throw him over his shoulder and then run over to